Transitioning from the pool to open water is one of the toughest and most important skills a triathlete must learn. Swimming back and forth in a pool with a lane line and walls is not the same as towing the line with tough competitors in an open water swim environment. Whether the venue has a mass swim start, a wave start, or a rolling start, it's important for athletes to learn what to expect on race day and the differences between pool swimming and open water swimming. In today's video, I want to share some techniques you can practice in the pool to help you overcome some issues that you may face race day. Let's talk about the main differences between a pool swimming and open water swimming. Number one, the obvious. There's no lane lines and there's no walls at end to end to stop and rest. So something you want to become familiar with that you can practice in the pool is not touching the bottom and not touching the wall. So while you're swimming in a pool, you can do a flip turn before you get to the wall and not push off, or you can just, do a breaststroke, pretend you're doing an open turn, pretend you're touching the wall, turn around, and continue to swim back and forth that way. Yes, you may be losing out on a few hundred yards or meters by not swimming all the way into the wall, but what you're going to gain from that is a sense of pacing in open water because you're not going to have the push off that allows you to glide and float and it's going to adjust your pace in the pool. You're not going to have that in open water, and you're going to be able to not rest at the wall, so you're not only going to have a better feel of your pacing, but you're going to have a better feel for when you become maybe a little bit tired, a little bit muscular fatigue, or a little bit more breathlessness. Second thing I mentioned was no lane lines. So when you're in a pool, you're kind of condensed, you're kind of enclosed, you have that safety factor. In open water, it's a vast area, body of water, depending on if you're in a lake, a river, a reservoir, or an ocean, or the sea, you're gonna have a small condensed body of water or an open space. So a lot of times, if you're not experienced swimming in open water, that sense of not having that small enclosure around you could create some fear and anxiety. So knowing that going into it is going to help a little bit, and the best way to overcome that is just really some mental strategies and practicing being in a big vast area of open water. Not swimming in it, but just kind of getting out there, swimming close to shore, swimming with a safety buoy, swimming in a wetsuit, swimming with someone, a friend, a partner, and just getting that experience in, realizing what is your anxiety, what are your fears about that vast open water, and, getting in the pool and trying to overcome that. It's a mental thing. Another thing, another big difference is in the pool, it's clear, it's chlorinated, there's no creatures, there's really nothing but the black line on the bottom. And in open water, you can't see anything. So a tip that I like to share with athletes I coach, and I'll do myself for fun, is swimming with closed eyes. So when you close your eyes and you're in the pool, you have the lane lines to run into, you have the wall to run into. So you're in a safe environment, you're not gonna go very far. So just getting that sense of closing your eyes, and again, you don't have to close your eyes the whole time, but closing your eyes while your face is down in the water to get that sense of not being able to see. In all honesty, in most open waters, even the nastiest, dirtiest open waters that I swam in 28 years, I always can see my hand. So I gauge the grossness of open water by whether or not I can see my hand pulling underneath my body, because at least I can always see my hand, and at least I can always see bodies around me. You see the safety buoys that you're trying to swim to, you see the kayakers and the safety crew, so you really just can't see the bottom, but that can create a lot of fear and anxiety for some people. So practice swimming with closed eyes in the pool. Another thing, another difference is temperature. So open water tends to be colder than pool swimming. But even having said that, 75 degrees in a lake is much, much warmer feeling than 75 degrees in a pool. So You know, you may be used to swimming in, common 80 to 84 degrees pool temperature. To me, that feels just as warm. 75 degrees in open water is almost that feeling just as warm as that pool temperature. So just knowing that there is definitely a difference. I will not swim in 75 degrees in the pool, but when I get in open water, it's no big deal. I feel very comfortable and it feels very warm to me. So temperature, again, could create some anxiety. I've already done a video about how to acclimate to cold temperature for you to review, and I list 5 steps to take to acclimate to the cold water if that is the case that you're swimming in the colder water and you're not used to that. Another thing, the last thing I want to talk about is breathing and pacing. And sighting. Kind of breathing, pacing, and sighting all go together. Because sighting, when you're in open water, you obviously have to, there's a sighting technique, whether it's a water polo swimming or if it's alligator eyes. I prefer alligator eyes. I've done a video on that already. You have to get used to sighting. When I first started triathlons 28 years ago, I didn't have any guidance. I was at least a strong swimmer, so I didn't have any fears of the open water, but I would always be really sore on my left shoulder because my technique in the pool was different than my technique in open water. So the technique, I wasn't used to having to stop, sight, breathe. And I tended to always kind of drop that left elbow because I was breathing more frequently and I was also sighting, so I had a little bit more stress on that left arm. So my shoulder, my lats, my entire arm was usually a little bit more sore because my technique, not just my swim technique, but the sighting technique changes in open water. So you want to learn how to sight. Breathing technique changes. I would breathe every left arm, right arm, breathe. Where in the pool, I like to bilateral breathe every 3, 5, or 7 strokes. So now with my experience, I only breathe every left, right until I round the first buoy, and then I get into my more rhythmic breathing pattern that I do in the pool. So because of the sighting, that's going to affect your breathing. And let's talk a little bit about technique. In open water, my swimming, I used to have a little bit longer strokes as a swimmer, as a distance swimmer. My technique was a little bit different, where I had a little bit more, which most people know is a glide, but I also had more of a kick that would help propel me through the water. When I became more into triathlon and open water swimming, I started getting a little bit more choppier stroke technique because of the churn. Open water swimming is going to create turbulence, churn from bodies, from weather, from other things that's going to create some turbulence for you. So you want to know ahead of time that your stroke should be a little bit choppier in open water, and in that case you should learn some mechanics and some stroke techniques in the pool that's going to carry into open water. One of my famous drills is the head out of the water drill. It works on technique, it works on digging and hand entry and pull and high elbow. It kind of works on all the aspects. Recovery, hand entry, pull is the head out of the water drill that I like to subscribe to athletes. But that's a good drill to know for open water because it does create a short, choppier stroke. When you have a short, choppier stroke, that's going to change the muscles that you use. Just like when you breathe more frequently, that's going to change a little bit of your swim mechanics and the muscles you use. So practicing that head out of the water drill in the pool, not just for swim mechanics, but for just getting a shorter, choppier stroke that you're going to use in open water is going to be very, very, very beneficial for you. So just want to wrap this up, quick review. 6 things that are the 6 main differences between open water swimming and pool swimming include having no walls or lane lines, rough water, that's going to change your stroke rates, the temperature of the water, practicing sighting, practicing different breathing mechanics, and the one thing I didn't mention is pacing. When you're in an open water swim event, you're going to be pacing differently. You tend to want to start an event very fast, high heart rate, it's a little bit more uncomfortable, then you may slow down, then you may speed up to try to draft off someone or just to try to go faster, and then you may slow down to get into a more comfortable pace, catch your breath. It really just depends on the length of the open water swim event. But making sure you're practicing your race day pacing in the pool before you get in the open water, which means sometimes I have my athletes do a little bit of dry land warm up and then get in the water and start swimming as fast as they can. I know they can do this. We've already prepped them that they're not going to need a large warm up in the pool. They're doing their dry land warm up, so I don't want them to get injured by diving into the pool and swimming really fast. But it's really important to have that skill, because no matter what people tell you to start slow, to start calm, start relaxed, you're in a race, you're anxious, you're excited, you want to go as fast as you can. So you want to get used to not having a very much of a warm-up, if any at all, and taking that plunge in the body of water and starting really fast, which usually involves a short, choppier stroke.